I'm making this short video to offer you an idea, a different way of mounting a bit of painting. Sometimes we do things and we don't know how it's going to turn out. Now, I had a phase of painting feathers. I was teaching at the time and we were chatting and doing demonstrations, but I continue with this and I really like it, so I'm going to put it in some sort of frame. Now, one of the problems I've got is I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it, so I went out and bought a frame that is roughly, let me just zoom back out again, it's roughly the right size, okay, for the height. But the problem I have is that I don't really want to spend the money on a mount, and it's not going to be equal all round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a torn edge, and then I will put a backing paper, so there won't be a mount going on top. This will sit on a piece of coloured paper, which I will show you in a bit. Now, to do this torn edge, you don't want to do it this way. Where's my rule gone? On that side, because then you'll get a line of where the actual rule has been. So you need to do it on the back. So what I've done, if I can find it, oh, there it is. There's one mark. And where's the other? There. Okay, so that's my two marks. That is the factory edge. So I'm going to put it on that way. Make sure that's straight and hope for the best, I think. Let's pull this down a bit. I hope you've got this in the frame. Yeah, it's as far out as I can go, people. Just persuade it a little bit and put a lot of pressure on it. And gradually you've got to start it, because this is 300 gram. Just carefully. So there's one side. Now, can you see what I mean about that edge there? Okay, so that's one side done. It's quite a stressy thing. Because this is that's the side. That's a thin strip, so I'm going to have to put the weight on the bigger strip. That's if I've got enough to get hold of, that's the only problem. Once you start it, let's give it a bit of help. Maybe if I do it the other way. Yeah. Okay, now where it's running out there, it doesn't like it, so I will have to just do it by hand. But I'm not too fussed because I really want a sort of raggedy edge. So what I can do, now I've got the bulk of it off, I can then say, okay, I'm going to give myself a more raggedy edge at the top, just to make it look interesting, and I'm tearing away from the front. So I've got that much there, so I don't really, let's see what happens if I do it this way. You could do it either way, actually. Actually, I quite like it this way. I might re-tear that. Right, that, my friends, is that. This is the back of the picture. It had one of those flap things. you know, if you want to stand it up, but I didn't want that, so I pulled and pulled until it came off. So effectively we've got this sort of arrangement, and that's the frame. Okay, now I've got to look at what am I going to put underneath it. I think the actual hardboard backing is just a little too basic. I'm going to just pull a bit more off this top because I prefer that's if I can. I prefer that sort of finish. I don't want to get too close. It's difficult. Do think what you're doing at home first before you start doing this. In fact, this is a good example to say, you know, always have a little go first with some scraps, and then you don't mess up the bit that you want to do. I mean, it's a lovely little painting. I just don't think it's sort of, I want to spend lots of money on it. So there, we've got that. Now, paper wise, let's have a look. I've got some calligraphy paper, which is rather nice. It has like a watermark in it in different colours. So we're looking at the colour in the paints. So that's that. I also have some pastel paper. That's quite a nice colour. So let's just have a look and put the frame on and see what we'll have to go the other way, what we think. I don't know, I think that's a bit too sort of chocolatey colour. Let's have a look at some of these. Then again, I think that's too light. Do I have something in the middle? I think that might be rather nice. So you could even do more than one. You know, you could have two pieces of colour. You could also have something textured. There's all sorts of different things you can do. So it's just another way of putting something in a frame. You don't have to be formal with the mount and all the rest of it and the beveled edge. Just think a little bit differently, and it depends what the subject is and where it's going to hang as well. So I hope you find that useful.